the real estate duo. You'll rarely see a cop that's retired and a hairdresser coming together and thinking up an idea. Oh, what do we do? Well, they happen to be successful real estate investors, and they started kind of later in their life. And this is their journey and where they are at today. If you're not inspired, believe me, this is going to be an amazing journey that we're going to join. 2.5 years from zeros to heroes, at least as it comes to real estate investing. So, Sean, Chris, welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
And so you guys started 2.5 years ago.
Yes. Correct.
Right? How much real estate did you own 2.5 years ago before you started investing?
Nothing. Never owned a house in my life.
Never owned a house in your life,
No.
right? And you have some grays, right? So clearly you've been around for a few years.
Sure.
How is it that somebody who has never owned a house gets into real estate investing? How did that happen?
My business partner, Sean, and I, he called me up one day, said you were having your 3-day event. So we attended, and before the end of the 3-day, we had decided that we wanted to make the move and that it would be a good start.
Okay. So this was basically, you were like, okay, never owned real estate. And was there a reason why you never bought real estate?
Just foolish.
Just, okay. I mean, just one of those things.
Yeah, just never did.
Okay, got it. And as far as Sean, for you, right? What was the impetus? What led you to saying, well, I'm going to suddenly start investing in real estate?
I've always wanted to. Your program was perfect. I mean, we came to that 3-day. It was amazing. I've been a copper for 27 years at that time. I was getting close to the end. It was time to retire. As just watch the TV. It was time to go. And I did retire about a year ago, and we've been nonstop running with your system ever since.
Got it. So, I mean, we're going through, this is right at the end of COVID as we record this, right? Or we'll find out if it's end of COVID or not. We don't know, right? We're seeing all the challenges. Everybody's observing. Everybody has a different political opinion, whatever, regardless of that. But being a cop, it has changed, right? Over the years, it's a, you look at this way or that way, it really doesn't matter. It can be a tough life.
Absolutely.
Right? Yet you face some challenges, as we all have, as in real estate or as a nation. How do you look at this side of investing today versus what you did in your former life?
This, as crazy as it is right now, is 10 times safer than my other job.
Right, because I mean, that's there. You're getting shot at, or you're getting blamed.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, it's just
no winning.
it's no winning, and it's a tough situation, right? I mean, everything kind of is all said and done. So when you guys came, you guys had kind of an interesting. You had a friend.
Yeah, my old partner. Yes.
Your old partner as a cop.
Yes.
Okay, and he had come to one of the old meetings that I had done.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, years and years ago.
Years and years ago. Okay, probably I was starting out at the time.
Yes.
And did he do any investing, or how was that like?
No, he didn't. I wish he would have pushed us, but he said it was great. He loved it, and then he shut up. Nothing. He wouldn't tell us the full what we were looking for.
So 2.5 years ago, you guys show up, right? And what was the thing, right? You come to the 3-day, right? And a lot of people come to the 3-day. You actually, both of you were in Mastery. What was that leap of faith that said, man, we can really grab this by kind of the bull by the horn, and we can really run with it? Because you've been a cop, right? I mean, that's been your former life,
Yes.
right? Your wife happens to be a cop, right?
Yes, she is.
And what did you do prior to real estate?
Hairdresser.
You're a hairdresser, okay? So two completely different professions, nothing to do with investing, nothing to do with business. What was the confidence? Did you guys do a lot of rehabs before? What was it that said, okay, I can grab this and run with it?
I think the amount of information that you dispensed in those 3 days, where it was really down to the nuts and bolts of things, and there was no, here's a stack of videos, here's a stack of books, go home, I wish you the best. It was always, we could talk to someone. You had a question, you didn't reference a book, you actually talked to someone yourself, someone in the staff, and you got a direct answer.
Got it. And you guys really, what you guys did was you guys adopted what I was suggesting: small houses, simple rentals, and just run with it, right?
Yes.
So the first part of it, so you can do a rental strategy, you can do a flip strategy, you can do a wholesale strategy, right? What did you guys start with and why?
All rentals. That was our goal. We just said we're going to build our portfolio, rental, rental, rental. As we're going along with probably our third, fourth, fifth rental, we're like, hey, the ARV is going to be amazing. We'll change this one into a flip.
Okay.
And that's how we did a few flips, but normally it's all rentals.
All rentals. So in 2.5 years, how many total rentals?
15.
15 rentals, 2.5 years, right?
Yeah.
Zero real estate background, right?
Correct.
And when you buy rental properties, what is the typical rental property that you guys are buying?
Your system, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, no basement.
Okay, 3 bedroom, 1 bath, no basement, right?
Absolutely.
You happen to be Chicago and surrounding counties, right? That happens to be your area.
Yes.
So we have a lot of basements, and most people who own rentals, they're like, oh my God, Andrew, why wouldn't I buy in the basement? Bigger is better. And you guys are the exact opposite.
Absolutely. Basements are nothing but trouble. You're always going to get seepage, or even worse, they're going to call you and say, I have 2 feet of water in my basement.
Right. And I was kidding the other day. I used to always say, if you have a damn basement, as long as your furnace, washer, dryer is not there, if you can move it upstairs, move it and fill the stupid thing in. Right? I mean, because literally a lot of times people don't understand. It's like, if you drive a car for Uber, right? You very rarely will buy a Mercedes or Rolls Royce to drive an Uber. You're going to buy the most utilitarian car that makes the most sense and is going to be efficient for that business. Right? It's the same thing for rental properties. You don't buy bigger properties, you buy the ones where the highest yield for the least amount of investment and the best neighborhoods that make the most sense, right? So the first property that you guys did, to give for people as an example, right? What did you buy that property for? I mean, it's 2.5 years ago, so not that, but it seems almost ages, right?
$70,000 on the third day of your class. We
Third
left
day,
and
right?
bought it.
It was the funniest thing. You guys are in class, we're going through this, and this was a property I felt would be a little challenging, right? This property in Worth.
It's not that attractive.
Yeah, not that attractive, but it fit all the criteria. I just was like, I wonder if they can pull the rehab off, right? You bought it for 70.
Yes.
How much did you put in the rehab?
20 at the most. Yeah.
20 at the most.
Yeah.
Okay, at the most. And you guys were your own GCs, right? Yes. Meaning you didn't sub it out to somebody, you didn't just armchair kind of do that. You guys were involved in terms, because that was some skill set you did have.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So maybe for somebody else it would have cost them 25 or 30. Right?
Probably.
So
yes.
your all-in cost is 90 in the deal. And then what was the property worth?
The ARV came back 135, 140.
135 or 140.
Yeah.
So you're in it for 90, and you created value because you basically put work into it up to 130, 140, somewhere over there. Right? What sort of rent were you getting out of it?
We got $15.50.
$15.50 rent. Okay.
Yes.
$15.50 in rent. So every month you're making about what, $450, $500?
Yes. On that one, yes.
About $450. So imagine this, guys, right? 2 guys walk in, no real estate experience, buy a property, 90 all-in cost, some carrying cost, maybe 95,000. And they get the property done, it's worth 130, 135, 140. Now, what would most people have done was, oh my God, this is great. We're going to flip it. Why not flip the property at that point?
Because of your classes, and as you broke down the math, rentals versus flipping, it made sense for our position at the time, and still does, to try to build a rental portfolio.
Okay, got it. Because what we've said over and over, if you've ever seen anything, if you've heard me, is that if you take care of real estate for the first 5 years, real estate will take care of you for the rest of your life, right? And so my question is this. Let's roll the clock back a little bit. What if you had done this 10 years ago? What if you started 10 years ago?
I can only wish.
Right?
Yeah, we'd be well off.
I mean, 100 plus properties. I mean, there's not even a question.
Easy.
Right?
Easy.
It's not even a question in my mind with the ability. And a lot of times people don't understand this, right? We all have a skill set, right? If you're young, you have time on your hand. You may not have to have the skills. If you're a little bit gray or balding, you have a different skill set, which is you have a lot of life experiences, right? Mm-hmm. You've hopefully developed some contacts, hopefully developed something. And you got to bring that. Do you guys feel that maybe it's the networking, maybe it's your past life experiences that you guys are using today in real estate?
Absolutely, especially with my job, dealing with people. That's what I've done my whole life.
Right,
You go see the renters. Some are great, some are challenging.
right.
You have to know how to deal with people, and I got it down fairly decent so far.
Got it. So we're kind of just wrapping up. We're, coming out of this whole COVID crisis, right? We're sitting in the office with no masks on, right? I'm sure somebody will have a comment about that. But regardless, right? How has that been? Because owning rentals, a lot of people may look at it and go, oh my God, well, they got 15 rentals. We'll see how it happens. This is one of those things that's going to happen. Didn't know it was going to be COVID,
Right.
but a market challenge is going to come up. How have you guys dealt with it mentally, and what has been the effect business-wise?
Well, just like everybody, first a quick flash of panic, like, oh, what's going to happen? We're going to get, 10 phone calls, which thank God we didn't. They came in late, or they'd send 500, but everybody made a full payment, or we actually gave them a break. We said, hey, you're attempting, we know times are tough, we'll take off 100 this month, or
Right.
work with each and every one of our tenants.
Okay, but you've had pretty good rent collection,
Yes,
right? I mean, what, over 90%?
yes, absolutely.
Over 90%. Okay, got it. So whenever you're looking at the strategy that we always use, we tend to be very, very risk adverse, right? We always say buy properties with equity, buy properties with cash flow, and buy properties where your DCR makes sense, right? It has to be a certain numbers that have to hit every single time, right? And have you guys followed those rules, or you try to reinvent new rules?
No.
No.
Okay.
You've made it very simple. It's even things even the few houses that we've gotten with basements, sometimes we'll have to go, Andrew's right, no
Yeah.
basements.
Yeah, because you guys are getting rid of 2 or 3 houses that have basements.
Yes.
Right? And which is very, very, most people don't do that kind of stuff, right? We're very anti the traditional thinking, right? We want simplicity to its core, right? Because when something goes wrong, you want little things to go wrong, right? You don't want a 4-foot flood in your basement,
Exactly.
right?
And following your math formula, you look at that as equally as in detail as you would the house.
Right. So the question is this: not only you guys did 5 or 6 flips, right? Because this will come up. This question, sorry, 5 or 6 rentals, I should say, and this will come up. Like, well, he was kind of a cop, so must have had a bunch of money somewhere, or he must have had a money somewhere. You guys have been friends for a long time. You've known each other, right? I mean, did you guys have a pile of cash? I know you're old school, under the bed or something. Where did the money come from?
No, not at all. Not at all. We did put some money together. It was about $100,000.
Okay.
Between the both of us.
Between the both of you guys,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And you guys are clearly more than 50, both of you guys, right? I mean, clearly. Reason I say that is a lot of times people think that people have all kinds of money somewhere, right? I mean, if you ever get it, you are supposed to have a pension, right? I mean, for all these years, get shot and get abused, and then you get a pension, right? But truly, it's not like you had a lot of money to start with.
No, not
Right?
at all.
Not at all. And so you've kind of built it from the little bit of money and putting it together with other resources,
Yes.
right? So what are the other types of resources did you use? Did you go to private money? Did you go to hard money? What are the type of resources you've used?
I'd say a little bit of everything.
Okay.
What seemed to work at the time, what was available, and they all work, and you can utilize them. And then once you establish things, finance correctly,
Okay.
and move on to the next one.
So first deal, let's talk about that one, right? First deal, you guys came up with a little bit of money,
Yes.
right? You guys kind of hobbled it together, I remember, on the first one. It's like anybody else. Did you borrow private money from somebody within Mastery? How did you go about it?
We have used private money. We've got a line of credit through a constructive
Right.
loan. Pretty much every option out there, we opened every door. With our experience now that we've done it, all the doors stay open. Whatever
Okay.
we need, a phone call is pretty much all we need now.
Got it. Because you built, obviously, those friendships, that reputation, that, hey,
Absolutely.
even when times are tough, we're there, right? You guys are standing by your investments, obviously.
Yes.
They're good quality properties, and you do right by the lenders, right by the tenants, the whole 9 yards, right?
Yes.
So let me ask you this question. Why did you start doing some flips, and how did that come about?
Actually, we partnered with another mastery student who
Right.
we met here, the first one. She was doing some wholesales. She said, hey, she had the property. We had different experience. We said, hey, let's give it a shot.
So it was with Catherine.
Catherine, yeah.
She happens to be a nurse, right?
Yes.
That's her full-time job.
Yes.
And Catherine is Latina, and the reason I say that is because I pick on Catherine all the time, and because she's not built to do rehabs, right? That's just
Yeah,
not,
no, that's not her.
that's not her,
Yeah.
right? Because she gets all emotional and worked up about everything, right? It's in her blood, which is fine. But then I was like, Catherine, why not partner with somebody that has that skill set? You find the deals, they can help you get the rehab part of it done, and it's a happy solution for both parties, right? Both
Absolutely.
parties benefit. So you guys did your first project. Where was that project?
Joliet.
That was Joliet, okay. And how did that end up going?
Great. One, it was on a busy street. That was probably the only negative, that we didn't sell it as fast as we wanted. But it sold. We all made money, and it was great.
Got it. And then how many flips have you done so far?
About 5 or 6 right now. Yeah.
5
We're
or 6.
currently working on one with Catherine again.
Okay.
Yes.
So you guys have basically gone back to back to back to back. You're doing a couple flips at a time. You're doing your rental portfolio. You're
Yes.
doing a couple flips at the time, and you're doing your rental portfolio. Got
Yes.
it? Okay. So what does the future look? What is it? Where do you go from here? Hopefully we're coming out of these times. It's yet to be seen, right? The results. But what is in it for you for the future? Do you stay investing in this area? Do you go to a warmer temperature? What are you guys thinking now?
We're staying here.
Okay. Why?
Absolutely. And I think there's going to be more deals than ever coming.
Okay.
Tragedy, yeah, it's terrible. A lot of people are hurting, but it opens up opportunities for other people.
Got it. Are you already seeing that, like starting to happen?
Yes, we're getting a lot of calls from different wholesalers saying, hey, but you maybe get 1 or 2 a month. I'm getting 5 or 6 a month now. Hey, we have another one. We have another one. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Right.
So they're coming.
Got it. And now you have your pickings.
Yeah, you could,
Right.
actually.
So what does the forecast look for you guys? You think this year going out, as you go out, another 6-8 deals minimum? What does that look to you?
I'd say that's realistic, absolutely.
Right. That's a realistic number. So basically by the end of the year, maybe about 20 properties or so, 20 rental properties?
Yes.
Right? So what would you say your average income is from every single rental, ballpark?
Say in the 4s, right? 375 to 500. I mean,
So about 400 to
Yeah.
450 per property?
Yes.
Right?
Right.
So at 20 properties, man, right? Even if you say, okay, one property may not perform at every time, right? So you say, okay, you have about 95% performance on the properties. Still, I mean, it's a pretty good chunk of change,
yes.
right? So the strategy we always suggest is the guys, hey, for 4 or 5 years, you got to take the cash, you got to plow it back into the business. You can't just start living on it and just having a good time with it, right? We got to be prudent. We're building a business. Do you guys follow that philosophy? Do you guys think in that way? Because you guys are pretty conservative people in terms of your, lifestyle, spending habits, that kind of thing. Do you guys follow that, or are you having a time of your life?
Absolutely follow it. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
So
everything.
We haven't
goes back.
taken a penny.
you haven't
No,
taken a penny.
No, we just keep buying more houses.
But this is strange, though. Right? This is a very strange way of being that most people, most real estate investors will be, man, you have no idea. I got 15 properties, dude. Look at that, big Mercedes or the big BMW. My rentals bought it for me. Why not? Because you could do that.
Sure. But I'm looking at the big picture. I want some real wealth and security. I'm
Okay.
not going to fool around. The minimum the first 5 years, how you say.
Right.
Guarantee we're holding tight until then.
Got it. So you guys are willing to be patient and say, hey, just let it build, let it build, let it build. So when tough times like this come, right, that you at least have something to lean back on, right?
absolutely.
Would that be the same strategy?
Absolutely, I agree. And it's not like, you physically don't have it, and you're not spending it on personal items for yourself, but you do see it there.
Right.
So you see the productiveness of what you're doing, of your works.
Got it. So it's in the bank account. You just choose to put it to work productively rather than just go do something crazy,
Yes.
right? And there will be a time when we can choose to do something crazy, right? You can choose to do something fun, because at the end of the day, why are we all doing this for?
Oh, sure.
Right? You can choose that, but security is more important than doing crazy things. So what would you say to people that, listen to somebody like you guys and like, oh my God, I wanted to have you guys specially on because both of you guys, kind of avoid attention. It's hard enough to get you in the studio. I mean, you have to hide nowadays, right? You're a former cop. So but you guys are not out there, kind of tooting your horn. But what do you say to people who say, man, is there hope?
Absolutely.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely. I mean, we started with one house, and we look at people that had 4 houses, 5 houses. Then you get your next one, and then you can eventually look back and say, I have 3 houses, I have 5 houses. So, unless you're a multimillionaire where you can go in and throw a bunch of money down and buy 20 houses at once, that's how you start.
Right? You buy it, you rehab it, you refinance it, have huge equity, huge cash flow, repeat the process.
Yeah.
Right?
And you follow direction.
Right. I mean, we call
Which is
that
probably the hardest part.
right. That is the no, and it's interesting, right? Because I mean, from your former life where you came from, right? It's people of your profession can be bullheaded,
Yes.
right? You can be very bullheaded, and it's kind of a lot of kudos to you guys where you said, no, this makes sense. This is very rational. I'm going to take this idea and I'm just going to run with it. I'm not going to mess with it.
Right.
I'm just going to run with it. Correct?
Right.
And would you say, because now that I look at it after, as I'm talking to you guys, genuinely, if people learn to do what is possible in today's market, there is more opportunity today, in all honesty, than there was 2.5 years ago.
Yes. Oh,
For sure.
Right?
And there's a lot more coming.
There's a lot more coming, right? And I mean, and this is not, guys, just to build hype, but just understand, anytime there are tough things that happen in the market, that people are distressed, people are stressed out, this whole situation that has been going on in general around the world, and then we had all this mess in the country, that is not good. It's going to create, and this is election year. Right? If you think you're depressed now, you're going to be further depressed later this year. I mean, it's just, and if you're not going to be, you need to go to a psychiatrist because there's something wrong with you because they're going to, both parties equally are going to depress you. Right? But yet, in the long run, it's better for real estate, quite honestly. Right? So would you say to somebody that, hey, where would you say you start? Right? Do you, if they have, because you guys happen to be in Chicago, right? But what would you say? Would you turn to a YouTube? How do you even start mentally thinking about this process?
I think it's like anything else. You have to understand the theory first. You have to understand the numbers. And then you have to understand the process that can walk you through the steps that you need to take. You see so many people that you've brought out from the stage. They go in, they pay cash for a house, now they're stuck. The bank says, see me in a year. Well, you have to understand that process and how to get into the house and how to refinance and do that. So the theory of it is very important.
Right. So, I mean, the right education a lot of times is really, really, really important. And we're talking about, somebody you knew that was a really good friend of yours. He heard the idea, he's like, oh my God, this is a great idea. Yeah. And the only difference between him versus you guys were, you guys took the crazy idea and you just ran with it.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So having said that, guys, always enjoy having you guys on.
Thank you.
It's a huge, huge inspiration, especially for those people that are not, the very outgoing types. I mean, it's hard enough to get you guys to speak here when you guys show up. But I think it's a thrill because just to see the process that you guys have been through, continued success. And for everybody listening and or watching, hopefully you've enjoyed the conversation today.